Judge Boyd had always been known for his calm demeanor and unwavering commitment to justice, but no one could have predicted what was about to unfold in his courtroom. On that fateful day, the world of law and order was about to collide with something much more chaotic. It all started with a seemingly innocent YouTube debate that spiraled completely out of control. The courtroom was filled with tension as the case began. The defendant, a well-known YouTuber, had been accused of creating inflammatory content that sparked a massive online feud. Judge Boyd sat at the bench, his usual expression of calm concentration replacing the surprise that had initially swept across his face. He had witnessed all kinds of courtroom drama in his time, but nothing had prepared him for what would unfold next. "Your Honor, this video is a direct attack on me," the defendant claimed, his voice trembling with emotion. "It's clear that the other party was inciting violence through their words, and my response was nothing more than self-defense." Judge Boyd looked down at the evidence, his brow furrowing in thought. "Let's remember, this isn't a personal feud," he said, his voice steady but firm. "We are here to focus on the facts, not the emotions that these videos may stir up." But the defendant wasn't finished. He had spent days preparing for this moment, rehearsing his defense, and now he was determined to make his voice heard. "Your Honor, the only reason this video went viral is because of how it resonated with the public," he argued. "It's not just my word against theirs. I have hundreds of thousands of viewers who stand by me." Judge Boyd raised a hand, signaling for the defendant to calm down. He had been in high-pressure situations before, but the energy in the courtroom was different this time. The tension was palpable, as if everyone in the room was aware that something was about to change. "You're free to present your case," Judge Boyd said, his tone softening just slightly. "But we need to stick to the law. Let's not allow online personas and viral content to overshadow what actually happened in this case." As the defendant continued, his frustration grew. His voice became louder, his words more cutting. The courtroom was no longer a place of civil discourse, it had turned into something far more volatile. "Your Honor, the world saw what happened. They heard the words and they understood the message I was trying to send," the defendant said, his voice now a mix of anger and desperation. "You can't deny the power of social media. Judge. It's changing the way we communicate, the way we fight for what's right." Judge Boyd's eyes narrowed. "I don't deny the power of social media," he replied, his tone unwavering. "But what I do deny is that we allow it to overrule the law in this courtroom. The law is what we are bound to, not viral videos." The defendant clenched his fists at his side. "But that's exactly the problem, isn't it? You're stuck in the old ways of thinking. You don't get it, Judge. You don't understand how this works in the real world." The room was silent for a moment. Everyone could feel the tension in the air. It was clear that things were rapidly spiraling out of control. At that moment, one of the jurors, a woman in her 30s, stood up abruptly. "This is ridiculous," she muttered under her breath, clearly agitated by the direction the trial was taking. Her sudden outburst caught everyone by surprise, but it was only the beginning. The YouTube debate had already caused a frenzy online, and now it seemed to be spilling over into the courtroom itself. The tension between the defendant and the juror was obvious. Judge Boyd, who had been attempting to maintain control, found himself caught in a whirlwind of emotions, his attempts to steady the situation only fueling the fire. The YouTuber, sensing an opportunity to escalate the drama, decided to take matters into his own hands. "I have all the evidence I need to prove that I was right," he declared, his eyes fixed on the juror. "You're just mad because I called you out for your ignorance." The words hung in the air like a bomb waiting to explode. The juror, who had been sitting quietly, now stood up in defiance. "How dare you call me ignorant?" she shouted, pointing a finger at the defendant. "You have no idea who you're talking to." The entire courtroom was in shock. No one had expected this confrontation. The tension was thick, and everyone in the room felt it. Judge Boyd, trying to maintain some semblance of order, slammed his gavel on the desk, his voice booming. "Enough!" he commanded. "This behavior will not be tolerated in my courtroom. Both of you need to calm down now." But it was already too late. The damage had been done. The once composed judge had been visibly rattled by the outburst. The energy in the courtroom had shifted, and it seemed like things were about to get much worse. As the juror and defendant continued their exchange of heated words, the judge found himself caught in a dilemma. He knew the importance of remaining impartial, but the personal attacks and escalating tension were making it impossible to maintain control. After a long, drawn-out silence, Judge Boyd made an unexpected decision. He looked at the courtroom with a solemn expression before speaking. "I am recusing myself from this case," he said, his voice carrying the weight of his decision. "I cannot continue to preside over this trial with the level of bias and emotion that has been displayed here today." The room fell into stunned silence. This was unprecedented. Judge Boyd, a man known for his steady hand and clear-headed judgments, was stepping down from the case. The shockwaves of his decision rippled through the courtroom, and no one knew exactly what would happen next. Outside the courtroom, the news spread like wildfire. The story was all over social media, and soon it was the top trending topic across platforms. "Judge Boyd recused after YouTube fight goes wrong," the headline screamed. Everyone was talking about it. People couldn't believe that a judge, someone who had built a career on maintaining order, could be so visibly shaken by the events that had unfolded in his own courtroom. Did Judge Boyd make the right call? One news anchor asked during a live broadcast. Or did the viral nature of these YouTube feuds push him to make an emotional decision that no judge should ever have to make? The debate raged on as commentators and legal experts weighed in on the unprecedented decision. Many agreed that Judge Boyd had acted out of an abundance of caution, stepping down to avoid any appearance of bias. But others believed he had let the viral world of YouTube and social media influence his judgment in a way that compromised the integrity of the legal system. "I think we can all agree that the nature of this case is unlike any other," said one legal analyst. "But the real question is, can social media debates really affect the way justice is served in a courtroom? Is that a line that should be crossed?" As the days went on, people began to forget about the original case itself. What was supposed to be a simple legal proceeding had now become a symbol of how far-reaching the influence of the online world could be. Every tweet, every post, every viral video seemed to have an impact, and the public was starting to realize that nothing was truly private anymore. Despite the chaos, the defendant's case would continue without Judge Boyd. Another judge would take over. But the emotional weight of the situation remained. The courtroom was no longer just a place for legal arguments. It had become a battleground where the rules of the internet collided with the rules of the law. The defendant, now facing the reality of what had transpired, took to social media to express his thoughts on the matter. "This is just the beginning," he wrote in a post that quickly gained traction. "The system isn't prepared for what we're bringing to the table. We're just getting started." Meanwhile, the juror who had sparked the outburst spoke out publicly as well. "I was just trying to stand up for myself," she said in an interview. "But the moment I did, I became the villain in everyone's eyes." The public sentiment was divided. Some sided with the defendant, calling him a victim of an overreaction, while others supported the juror, feeling that she had been unjustly attacked. The fight had spilled far beyond the walls of the courtroom and into the court of public opinion, and through it all, Judge Boyd remained silent. He had stepped away from the case, but his decision was being scrutinized from every angle. Some believed it was the right thing to do, while others felt that it undermined the very principles of law and order that he had spent his career upholding. As the days turned into weeks, the viral nature of the case only continued to grow. Everyone wanted to know what would happen next. Would the new judge be able to restore order to the courtroom? Would the defendant and the juror ever be able to resolve their differences? Or would this incident serve as a reminder of how the world of YouTube and social media was forever changing the way we viewed justice? The only thing that was certain was that this was a story that would be remembered for a long time. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more shocking stories like this, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell for notifications. Stay tuned for more jaw-dropping content.